Tonight, you're about to step into the forgotten halls of an abandoned church, where shadows whisper and the holy ground holds secrets long buried. These are not just ghost stories. They are echoes of something that should never have been found. Get comfortable, turn off the lights, and listen closely. Welcome to Neik Midnight. They said the bells never rang again after Father Ellison vanished. The old chapel on the hill, St. Mercy's, had been empty for nearly 50 years. It stood alone, surrounded by dead trees and rusted gates. No one came close anymore. Not after what happened. I didn't believe the stories. Ghosts? Curses? Just tales told by old townsfolk who'd watched too many late-night horror flicks. So when my professor asked me to write about urban legends for my folklore class, I picked St. Mercy's. It was perfect, creepy, isolated, and loaded with mystery. I went alone. It was a foggy October afternoon. The air was colder than expected, and the wind carried a faint smell of burning incense. Even though no services had been held there for decades, I pushed open the heavy wooden doors. They creaked like something protesting being disturbed. Inside, the pews were coated in dust. Hymnals rotted to mush, and the altar was cracked down the middle like a split tombstone. I walked through the aisles, taking notes, snapping photos, documenting every odd detail. The deeper I went, the more I felt something pressing on my chest. Not fear, just wait. And then I heard the bells. 3 slow tolls. Deep, hollow, impossible. The belfry was supposed to be sealed shut. No one had touched it in years. I ran outside to look, but the fog had thickened. I couldn't see the tower at all. When I turned to go back in, the doors were closed. I hadn't shut them. Inside, the chapel was dark, much darker than before. Still, I pushed forward, flashlight trembling in my hand. I reached the altar again and stopped. The crack was gone. In its place stood a figure, pale robes, head bowed, whispering. I called out, but the figure didn't move. It just kept murmuring something low, rhythmic, like a prayer. I stepped closer. The figure raised its head. The face was wrong. Not disfigured, just incomplete. Like someone had started sculpting a human and gave up halfway. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth gray skin. I stepped back in horror. My flashlight flickered, then died. And then I heard them. Footsteps, not behind me, but above. In the rafters, slow, deliberate, circling. I turned and ran. The pews were no longer empty. They were filled with shapes, silhouettes in robes, all facing me. All still, I tripped near the exit, scrambled to my feet, and pushed against the door. Locked. I pounded on the wood, yelling for help. But outside, the fog was silent. Behind me, a voice finally spoke. It was soft, crooked. Do you hear them now? I turned. No one. But in the corner of the chapel, where the baptismal font once stood, water began to rise. Black, viscous, pulsing, something was emerging from it. I didn't wait to see. I ran to the side entrance, also locked. The stained glass windows were too high, too narrow to break through. The thing in the corner dragged itself forward, leaving a trail of that dark water behind. It whispered, not in English, not in anything I recognized, but my bones understood. Whatever it said, it wasn't meant for the living. And then the bells rang again. This time, 4 tolls. Each one closer. I backed into the sacristy, slamming the door shut. There was a smell there, like burnt paper and blood. Cabinets rattled on their hinges. Shadows moved without light. And in the center of the floor, I saw it. A journal. The pages were wet, ink smudged, but readable. He rang the bell that should not ring, and they came. He tried to run, but they only wait for those who hear. Suddenly, all the candles in the chapel lit at once, flickering, unnatural flames. Through the crack in the door, I saw the pews again, but the figures were gone. Now, they stood in a circle around the altar, and in the center was me, my own face, my own body, but the eyes, empty sockets. The mouth, stitched shut. I stumbled back, heart racing, and the voice came again. Now you belong to the silence. The sacristy door burst open. Dark hands grabbed at me, cold, bone thin, pulling. I screamed, and then I was outside, lying in the grass, under a bright morning sky. The church was gone, just gone. No building, no gates, just flat land and scattered leaves. But in my hand was the journal, and when I opened it, there was only one sentence now, burned into the page. The bells never rang again. They told us not to go to the crypt. Not because it was dangerous, at least not in the way most people think. They just said it was wrong down there. I was part of the restoration team assigned to the Street Gabriel Church, a once beautiful cathedral, sealed off since the 1962nd, left to rot, with ivy-covered walls and shattered stained glass. My job was simple: catalog everything before reconstruction started. No one wanted the night shift, but I volunteered. It wasn't bravery. I just liked the quiet. The way the lantern light danced across the pews made it feel like time had stopped. The first 2 nights, uneventful. Dust, cobwebs, faded murals of angels whose faces had been worn away. Then came night 3. That's when I noticed the whispering. Faint, so faint I thought it was the wind. But there was no breeze inside, no open windows, just the sound of words beneath words. I followed it toward the altar. There was a hidden door behind it, something we hadn't seen before. A thin seam in the stone, only visible when candlelight hit it just right. I should have reported it, waited for the others, but something pulled at me. Curiosity or something else. The door wasn't locked. It opened. With a long, groaning sigh, steps led downward, narrow, spiraling. The deeper I went, the colder it became, like breathing inside a forgotten cave. The whispering grew louder, still unintelligible, but rhythmic, like verses in reverse. At the bottom, I found the crypt, a circular chamber lined with alcoves. Each one held stone coffins, but none had names, only symbols, strange crooked carvings. Some looked vaguely religious, others didn't. In the center stood a single stone chair, and on it, someone was sitting or something. It didn't move, didn't breathe. I thought it was a statue, but when the light touched its face, the eyes blinked. Once, I froze. It didn't rise, didn't speak, just watched me silently. I backed away, slowly. Then, the whispering stopped, and the silence was worse. I turned and ran up the steps, two at a time, shoved the door shut behind me. Back in the main hall, everything looked the same. Still, empty, dusty, but then I saw it. The cross above the altar was upside down. It hadn't been before. I checked my camera. Every photo I'd taken, blurred, distorted, like something smudged the lens. That night, I didn't sleep. The next day, I told the others. We checked the wall behind the altar. No door, no seam, just solid stone. They laughed, said I was tired, imagining things. But that night, it came again. The whispering, only this time, it wasn't faint. It was right behind me. I spun around, no one. But the pews, every single one, had turned to face the back wall. I hadn't moved them. No one else had been inside. Then came the bell. It hadn't rung in decades. But now, it tolled. Softly, slowly, 4 times. Each strike echoed through the stone, like something ancient waking up. I looked at the confessional booth. The curtain was swaying. I stepped closer, heart racing, pulled it aside, empty. But carved into the wood were those same symbols from the crypt, and above them, shaky handwriting, they sit beneath the cross. They wait for names. The next day, I quit. I moved away. New city, new job, new life. But some nights, I still hear it. The whispering from drains, from the walls, from beneath my bed. Last week, a package arrived. No name, no return address. Inside, a photo, me, taken from behind. I was kneeling inside the crypt, and the stone chair was empty. If you're still here, congratulations. You've made it through the whispers and the silence that follows. But remember, some doors, once opened, never truly close. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to subscribe to Neik Midnight for more chilling tales, unsettling mysteries, and voices from the dark. Until next time, sleep tight. If you can,